This was the most fun blessing of the animals I've ever had. Thank you for, yes, bringing so many furry and beautiful creatures. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, John, for blessing us with amazing music. Here's some words. The wisdom of Valentina, who works as a nurse on a Navajo reservation in Arizona. And it's recorded in the Gentle Art of Blessing, a simple practice that will transform you and your world. I quote, "If we do not try, blessing we will not know. For all those ailing in the world, until their every sickness has been healed, may I myself become for them the doctor, the nurse, the medicine itself. We can become such medicine through blessing." And I truly, truly believe that these creatures that you have in your phone, that you have in your heart, that you have in your spirit, in your mind, and right here with us, have been, will continue to be in many ways the doctor, the nurse, and the medicine. So let us continue to learn with them, from them, and receive the blessing that animals are to us. Alan Watts, a prolific philosopher, said this: "The task of a liberated person is not to scold the world and preach to it, but to delight it back to its senses." The task of a liberated person is not to scold the world and preach to it, but to delight it back to its senses. End quote. So I'm not fully liberated yet, so I might preach a little. And once in a while, even exercise the little verb, conjugate the verb scold. So I hope it's not this morning. So this is the little disclosure I wanted to offer you before diving a little deeper into the homily. And you know how I distinguish homily from preaching. But let me introduce myself more formally. I'm the Reverend Alexandre da Silva Souto. Rev suffices, doesn't need to be a title, doesn't need to be capitalized, doesn't need to be dotted. Rev. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I'm in my 5.0 versions, most recently 5.3 version. My hair is gray, got a trimmed beard. I need glasses to read. I have a beautiful necklace from the Giovanni's Closet that I recommend you support for books and accessories, apparently. I'm wearing a kind of Okesa bib apron dress with a skirt, kind of pants with brown patterns and a patchwork embroidery stole that reads Black Lives Matter, remember Gaza, angry citizen, because if you're not angry, you are not paying attention. Says love, and the power interfaith icon for the interfaith community work in our city of Philly. So beloveds, the intention is not to scold or even to preach. But at some points, I might get into some subjects, into some parts that I feel really called to name and to be in conversation with you. So it's a conversation. And as a conversation, I'll start, with reporting back from my study leave. What the hell does that mean? Ministers get study leave, time that, we can step aside to a certain degree and reflect with more space, so we can be prepared to address, many of the subjects that are relevant to a congregation. It is not easy to be a minister in Unitarian Universalist congregations because each one of you has your own theology or no theology, and histories and all of that. So it's important that sometimes we take some time away and we create a lot of space around. So during my study leave, I did a couple of things. I caught up with emails, which can be a mental health exercise. Who hates emails? Be honest. Thank you. All right. So yeah, call me, text me. And I know that some of you appreciate phone calls, and I have the liberty of calling you even before texting. So bless you, thank you, and I see you right there. Yes. So I caught up with emails. I had some wonderful meetings with some wonderful projects that we have coming up for this next year. I packed a house. I had to pack one house because gentrification, and please talk to the Luana and Sheru about, ways of doing justice in our community. So gentrification caught me. I'm moving to a new apartment, and there's a waterfall above my above my bed, but that's for another day. I also got to dance, did some healing dancing rituals with some of your folks, and please, Jillian, right over there, wave your hand. So, and Adrienne, Perry, and Nick will be here next Sunday talking about dance, and dance as spiritual discipline, and there might be a dance ministry happening here in the congregation, so I got to do some of that. And we had 2 retreats. We have meditation and yoga community here in the congregation, and Eliza, yes, amen to meditation. We had 2 retreats. We had one at Pendle Hill. We had one here in the congregation. And I also went to a singles night, because I'm a human being. Thank you, amen for human beings. Yeah, so I went to a singles night down in Gayborhood, and I played a bingo icebreaker. Yeah, it was very diverse. I really loved it, and I realized I really need new prescriptions because the print was very small. But it was great to have people of other ages there that could read the card for me, and that related, as they also looked at it like, I can't read this. Can you read this? Like, no. We are 80s kids. Okay, all right. So, but one of the things at that bingo that I was really shocked, I was really surprised, that one of the questions was like, find somebody who's a vegan or a vegetarian. Hello, vegans, vegetarians, anyone here? There wasn't one except me. Can you believe it? A queer space. A queer space. Queer people tend to go vegan or vegetarian because, we tend to experience a great deal of oppression and systemic and historic oppression. So we think of other animals under duress and oppression and all of that. So not one. I was the token vegan vegetarian, and I fall off the wagon. Sometimes I do go for seafood. But I was really shocked, really surprised. Start thinking about that. And, my story with vegetarianism and veganism it wasn't intentional. My ex-partner, my roommate, was my ex-partner too, because, yay for no monogamy. Yes? Ethical, no monogamy? You're timid, it's okay. It took me some time. But anyhow, I come back, they were vegetarian, and they were cooking vegetarian meals, and I found, wait a minute, I can survive without having to have a meal that involves, meat from another animal. And it was great. And then I realized I felt really good about it. And then I started learning about it and the implications about, Animal Farm, about the suffering of animals as I start to also explore Hinduism, as I started to explore other faith traditions that look at animals in a very intentional way, not as what we dominate over and what we use as commodity. So here's some questions. What if we were to think critically about where our food comes from? What if we were to think about the ethical implications of the food industry we support? Remember what I said earlier? I'm not indicting you if you had a patty for breakfast. Bless you. Yes? I actually know people that need to have animal protein for them to be healthy. My question is very open about our relationship to the animals that live with us, that we take as family. How about the animals that we receive as food? How much time do we spend thinking of those animals before we partake of their life? At Pendle Hill, we had a weekend retreat, and one of the practices we had was mindful eating. Our meals were most of it were silent, and some of them were absolutely silent. And the invitation was, consider what's on our plate. The stars, the rain, the little bugs that were needed to create this lettuce, because this is also for vegetarianism. I was preparing my meal this week and hearing the crunching of cabbage and thinking, is this a song or are you crying? Honestly, because your life is going to be blessing my life. And one of the experiences I had, and I asked permission for this person beforehand, and we even had wonderful conversation. This person sitting in front of me was mindfully eating a chicken. Are you with me? Or you're like, I want my hamburger. What the heck are you doing, you vegan Nazi? No, there are Nazis, plenty. And there are vegan Nazis, I'm not. I'm just sharing with you the experience I had of sitting across the table with someone who was partaking of the life of another animal in a most mindful way. And this person gave me the liberty of sharing that, yes, this person needs and wants and was delighting in the life of the animal on that person's plate. And we had conversations about ethical implications. Is it possible to be an ethical person in today's society when it comes to our eatings, where even if you're a vegetarian, industrial farming? And this person says, yes. To the best of my ability, I am being ethical. And I'm taking into consideration the life of this animal on my plate, the life of this vegetable on my plate. So that might be the only adjustment that you might be inspired to make, if any, because I'm not here to judge or scold your dietary choices. But beloved, I couldn't help but think we're blessing the animals. Now how about the other animals? Because some are appalled, like what, they eat dogs? They eat horses? Yes, they do. Some eat cows. I eat fish. What is our relationship to these animals? And to, most importantly, because to me that's the most critical, our relationship to the food industry. What are the industries we are supporting? Full disclosure, not everybody, I already mentioned the disclosure of, because of health considerations, one may not be able to be vegan or vegetarian. Let me also make the disclosure that because of economic status, one may not have much choice but eat at a fast food restaurant, because I was that person in college, could afford Burger King. That's what I could afford. So if that's you, beloved, please don't think that anything I'm saying here is to make you feel bad. And some of us have CSAs, and I had a wonderful conversation, isn't it? Yeah, with Nick, that has a CSA, and it's wonderful. If you can support local farmers, and you can be a locavore, which is a thing. And there's a book here that I brought, it's on the altar. It's a book, it's a lovely book, titled Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver. Anybody read this book? So it's a family that had the luxury, that had the privilege of taking 1 year, moving to a place that is not a food desert. Because guess what, beloveds? Food deserts are everywhere, right here. Center City, West Philly, North Philly, places where you can't find fresh food. And if you do, it's too expensive. You can't afford rent, medicine, or food. So not everybody can afford being a locavore either, or even choosing what you eat or we do not eat. Are you with me? Yes? But there are things that we can do. It's all about what kind of power you have. To maybe, today will be a salad. I'm going to have a salad today. I don't need an animal today. And someday you need an animal, and you pause before we eat and we think, blessed is that life, especially if that animal did not have the dignity of a free-range life. And we know the labels are deceitful because the food industry will slap those free range, and it just means that the little chickens were not shackled. They could turn around. You with me? So what is it that we can do so the animals that bless us and the animals that we need are at least remembered? And if we don't change our patterns and our habits, the industry won't change itself. They'll put deceitful labels on it and continue to sacrifice. For what? For profit. Another poem from Mary Oliver, The Kingfisher. The kingfisher rises out of black wave, like a blue flower. In his beak he carries a silver leaf. I think this is the prettiest world, so long as you don't mind a little dying. How could there be a day in your whole life that doesn't have its splash of happiness? There are more fish than there are leaves on 1,000 trees. And anyway, the kingfisher wasn't born to think about it or anything else. When the wave snaps shut over his blue head, the water remains water. Hunger is the only story he has ever heard in his life that he could believe. I don't say he's right, neither do I say he's wrong. Religiously, he swallows the silver leaf with its broken red river. And with a rough and easy cry I couldn't rouse out of my thoughtful body if my life depended on it, he swings back over the bright sea to do the same thing, to do it. Or as long to do something, anything, perfectly. Dying is required for life, life and death, birth and death. In this food chain, in this homocentric, Anthropocene era we live in, what if we were to come back down to being animals with other animals, as opposed to sometimes buying into the toxic theology and propaganda that we are superior and sometimes not even animals. Plants give their lives to sustain us. Animals give their lives to sustain us. Tuana Petty, American author, poet, social justice organizer, mother and youth advocate who works to counter systemic racism, says this: nature has taught me that if humans don't figure out what a revolution really means, nature will make the revolution despite us. Are you sensing a revolution happening? Nature is revolting. Are you joining this revolution? Because there are ways we can. Maybe ways that we may think is irrelevant. How can pausing and thinking of this animal before I eat it, or maybe choosing paying a little bit more for an animal that had a little more dignity than one that you know is farm produced. Maybe these could be considered irrelevant or drops in the ocean, but maybe those little actions, it is what it takes for us to join Mother Nature. So I invite you to consider reading his book. There's also a wonderful book by Ross Gay, The Book of Delights, especially if this homily, this conversation felt very heavy to you. Ross Gay devotes a lot of time gardening and finding a lot of delight, a lot of joy in relating to the earth and to the plant beings. Mary Ellen Hannibal has another wonderful book I'd like to recommend. Citizen Scientist, Searching for Heroes and Hope in an Age of Extinction. So let us take a deep in-breath. With the animals that we surround ourselves with and we consider family, with animals that we need for the sustenance of our body and the industries that we're still dependent on. By Robinson Jeffers, The Beginning and the End. What is this thing called life? I believe that the earth and the stars too, and the whole glittering universe, and the rocks on the mountains have life. Only we do not call it so. I speak of the life that oxidizes fats and proteins and carbon-19, hydrates to live on, and from that chemical energy makes pleasure and pain, wonder, love, adoration, hatred, and terror. How do these things grow? From a chemical reaction? I think they were here already. I think the rocks and the earth and the other planets and the stars and the galaxies have their various consciousness. All things are conscious. But the nerves of an animal, the nerves and brain, brings it to focus. The nerves and brain are like a burning glass to concentrate the heat and make it catch fire. It seems to us martyrs hotter than the blazing hearth from which it came. So we scream and laugh, clamorous animals, born howling to die groaning, the old stones in the dooryard prefer silence, but those all things have their own awareness. As the cells of a human have, they feel and feed and influence each other, each unto all. Like the cells of a human's body making one being, they make one being, one consciousness, one life, one God. Beloved, let us continue to love the animals around us and keep expanding that love as far and wide deep as we can. Blessed be. Blessed be.
Hi, I'm Reverend Abby Tennis, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Reverend Alexandre da Silva Soto, and my pronouns are they, them, and theirs.
And we are the ministers of the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia, where it is our mission to awaken love and justice in our lives and in the world. We're so glad you watched this video, and we hope that its message connects with your soul.
We also want to invite you to join us for Zoom services Sunday morning at 11 a.m. or come in person at 2125 Chestnut Street, Center City, Philadelphia.
Whether you join in person or online, in these services you'll hear messages like you just heard. You'll get a chance to sing together, pray together, and even greet one another in coffee hour afterwards, whether you're brand new or a longtime member.
You can always find a Zoom link to our services and more about what to expect on Sunday mornings on our website, philauu.org. The link is below.
If you are connecting with this message and feel moved to give to the mission of this congregation, we invite you to click on the link below again and follow the prompts to give, or send a text message to 215-709-5095. And again, follow the prompts.
If someone in your life needs to hear these words today, please share this video. And again, thank you so much for watching.
We hope to see you soon.
See you soon.